All right, we're going live, everybody.
And I'll let the residents know. Okay, apologize for starting the meeting late. To the residents that are watching the live stream, we do have a new camera on order. They tried to get that old one to work, but it is the camera. So we do have audio because we run that through our other system here, so you can listen to the meeting. If you would like a audio with a visual, we do record the meeting in the police department. You would just have to come in and request the CD. I don't know if there's a small charge or what. Right now, I'd like to open up the Community Development Block Grant hearing for a few minutes here. It's actually 7:16. We'll call that, I'll read the or Angela, did you want to read the public notice?
I will.
The two sections that Mr. Tello, do you have the two sections to read?
I have the actual announcement in the newspaper. All right, so posted in the Chagrin Soul and Son and Cleveland.com on 10/13/22. Public notice for the Village of Walton Hills, 2022 Cuyahoga County Competitive Municipal Grant Program and 2023 Cuyahoga County Supplemental Grant Program. The Village of Walton Hills is, is eligible to apply for up to $150,000 in federal community development block grant funds administered by Cuyahoga County through the Department of Development. Funds can be used for a variety of housing, economic development, and community improvement projects. The Village of Walton Hills is eligible to apply for up to $50,000 in supplemental community development grant funds administered by Cuyahoga County through the Department of Development. Funds can be used for a variety of housing, economic development, and community improvement projects. Residents are invited to attend this public hearing to voice their opinions on local housing and community development needs, or to submit opinions in writing to the address below, which is for Village Hall here. The public hearing will be held on Tuesday, November 1st, 2021. Oops, he left 21 in there. Sorry, 2022. And at 7 p.m. And the correspondence would come here to Village Hall at 7595 Walton Road, Walton Hills, Ohio, 44146. And for any other information, you could contact Village Hall at 440-232-7800. Any persons who wish to attend and require special accommodations under the Americans with Disabilities Act, please contact us ahead of time, no later than 72 hours prior to the public hearing.
Is there any public comment at this time?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just want to let you know that Brian Spitznagel is listening.
Okay. And we'll excuse Mr. Spitznagel and the COW. I'll ask for a motion. We did have a sign-in sheet, everybody that signed in. Any public comment from anybody that's watching us that we're streaming? Okay, while we're waiting for that, I'll read the memo from Mr. Gelati, which you guys have relating to that. Just kind of will give an idea to the residents what this grant will be used for. As in the case each year at this time, this is from Mr. Gelati, our village engineer from Chagrin Valley Engineering. It's regarding the 2022 Cuyahoga County Competitive Missile Grant Program and 2023 Cuyahoga County Competitive Supplemental Grant Program. As in this case each year at this time, the village is proposing to apply for a grant of $150,000 in the Community Development Block Grant Funding Program. The village is also proposing to apply for an additional grant of $50,000 to the Community Development Supplemental Grant Funding Program. Grant applications are due by December 9th, 2022. If either or both of these grants are received, the grant money will be used to perform concrete pavement repairs in the Crick Road and Hannon Parkway industrial parks. $150,000 is the maximum amount to be applied for under the CDBG program, and $50,000 is the maximum amount to be applied for under the CDSG program. In 2020, the village received a grant worth $150,000, and in 2022, the village received grant funding worth a total of $200,000, which was used to perform concrete repairs in these industrial parks. If the current grant applications are successful, these proposed concrete pavement repairs would be in addition to the previous pavement repairs. There are many locations along the roads that make up these two industrial parks which are in poor condition and in need of further repair. It is important for the village to properly maintain these roads to help attract new businesses to this area and for existing businesses to remain in their current locations. It should be noted that the terms of the CDBG program are such that the grant funding can only be used for public improvements within a designated improvement target area, ITA, or within a designated low moderate income, LMI area. The location of these areas are designated by Cuyahoga County. See attached map dated August 2021 for more details. There are no designated LMI areas within the village. The only ITA areas within the village is the industrial zone highlighted in lime green. Thus, this is the only area in which the village can apply for funding, and that is our Crick Road area there. Okay. Any comments related to the public notice? Any comments from us live streaming? With no comments said, I'd like to ask for adjournment of the Community Development Block Grant hearing.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adjournment. Make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yeah.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 7:22 PM on November 1st, 2022. Okay. Let me just find my, you got that? Yeah. Sorry, I just had that emergency there, just kind of threw me for a loop here. There's my special council meeting. There's a committee in the hall. Okay, is everybody ready? Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Committee of the Whole meeting of the Village of Walton Hills of Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 at 7:23 PM. Roll call.
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen? Here. Councilman Whedon?
Present.
All of council here, along with our fiscal officer, Angela Reve, and our law solicitor, John Montello.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to
Jennifer
make a
Allen.
motion to excuse Councilman Spitznagel from tonight's meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm gonna
Second
go with
by
Brenner
Fred.
Miller.
Okay. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Spitznagel excused, 5-0. Okay, the third item, Mary, did you want to talk
Yeah.
to that? I'll let you talk to that.
Yes, let me go back to the agenda. We're going over our insurance for the 2023 period, and we have our representative, John Love, from Love Insurance. If he would like to come up and say a few words, and I will discuss this with him.
I have proposals that I sent to you, Angela. Does everybody have a copy or?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what you, is that
Yes.
what you gave us, Angela?
I believe so.
That's it.
The
that's it.
attachments that were in your,
Now, there are a couple other attachments that
You got
hand
more?
out if I could.
Oh, of course you could.
This is actually the same proposal, but in the back, there's the, and you may already have the loss history, but this proposal is, includes schedule. I noticed the schedule, the reason why I included the auto, the home, or the, building. and
Oh, okay.
the marine.
thank you.
It's all.
Do you have enough?
We can share.
Because me and,
Thank you.
there you go, we can,
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
did you need, are you?
I got what she gave out.
Okay, yeah, you're probably, I got the same thing, so we're. John, is that tall enough? Do you want,
Oh, this is fine.
because you can articulate pretty
Yeah,
loud, so.
This is.
If you want to introduce yourself and
Yes,
kind of give the background.
Yes, as you'd mentioned, I'm John Love from Love Insurance. We handle the village's insurance program. We've handled the village's insurance for, I think, over 10 years. And I'm here to discuss the renewal this year of the property and liability policy. and also the cyber liability policy. This year's policy came in at a fairly substantial increase. Last year's policy, just for the property and liability auto, everything other than cyber, was at $74,038. This year came in at $95,111. It's $21,075 increase, pretty big increase. So when we got the renewal from the carrier, we sent it to market. All the markets, we do a lot of municipalities throughout Ohio. Many here in the county, we insure. All of our carriers either declined or came in with a suggested premium that was going to be double than this. And there's a couple reasons for that. The marketplace has definitely got more difficult in insurance in general, but specifically municipalities. The two main factors are the loss history over the last 5 years, and then if you look at the 10-year loss history, that's a big factor on why the rates have increased. Also, in addition, we increased the property values, the building values by 8% to help coincide with inflation. The cost of handling claims and settling claims, especially property claims, have increased substantially because of inflation, building costs, all that. But the main contributing factor is the losses. And I put into the proposal list of, we have a 5-year ratio of the loss history. And there, just over the last 5 years, it was, actually, I'm going to grab it in front of me.
Oh, I can get you want me to read it?
Over the last 5 years, the company's paid out $378,000 in claims versus premiums, versus $293,000 in premiums paid over 5 years. If you go back 10 years, they've paid out $651,000 in claims. So just from a very basic standpoint, a company needs probably looking at, a 40% loss ratio just to break even and be profitable. And just when you do those numbers, it would put the premium at maybe 120 to 125, depending how they do it. So that is the reason that it's went up as it has. And so I'm not sure if you want me to walk through the whole proposal here, or just touch on a couple. From a limit standpoint, coverage hasn't changed. We have $1 million limit on the auto, $1 million limit on the general liability, $1 million limit on the public officials liability, employment practices, coverages. And in addition, we have a $10 million umbrella. So there's a total of $11 million in coverage, liability coverage for the village.
What about cyber? I'm sorry.
Yes, so the
Separate policy.
cyber is,
If you don't want to get into that one yet,
no, that's fine. I don't know if you want me to.
well, no, that's,
I'll
no,
put
I'll let
everybody
Mary,
for every item, but I'm just trying to.
we won't go to cyber yet, because I do have a
Yeah.
question. Because I know we've really been trying to be very, because last time when we had our renewal, Pat explained about our losses. Okay, and what those are and what those mean. That one part of litigation that we have out there now that hasn't been settled, does that play into this, even though it hasn't been settled?
It does. It's definitely a factor. In fact, this past year, it's increased. I believe the expense and expense ratio plus what they paid just in legal fees has doubled. I believe it was about $150,000. Actually, last year, I have it written down, the expense reserve last year at this time was $4,755 with an expense payment up to that time of $40,000 approximately. This year, the expense reserve increased to $54,000 443 for that claim. They paid 95,556, and they have a reserve of 150 in addition
Right.
that they anticipate, spending, defending, and total claim. But it did double just in this past year on that particular claim. So absolutely, and in fact, it's still open and active and changing. It's, yes, it's definitely made an impact on the overall view of the
Right.
the account.
I just had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know that, like, myself and I believe Angela are bonded, is that included in this, is that a separate?
No, that's separate.
So,
Is that something you handle?
yes, I believe we have, we
Yeah,
have.
Joyce, thanks.
And my question is, as the mayor was saying, I was looking for the limits or the coverage on the cyber.
So the cyber,
Separate policy.
this separate policy,
Right.
and it's not, right, it's
Yeah.
not included in there. I do have, on the cyber, if you want to transition to the cyber, are there any questions right now on the package portion?
Mary, and John, I do have a question. So how many companies did you take it to market? Like, how do you guys, when you take it to market, John, what do you
Yeah,
put?
so we,
Kind of explain that part, because a lot of people ask us, well, just, it helps for clarity and transparency with the residents too, is, well, why don't you switch insurance companies, but they don't understand you're a broker and that's what you do. So
I
I
could
just
tell
kind of
you
want to
that
clear
one.
that. What's that, Mary?
I could answer that one.
Right, but
So-
look, that's,
No, let
Whoever.
him do it.
we did go to market. We went to all the markets that we work with municipalities, and we got declination from Travelers. We got a declination from the Ohio Government Risk Management Plan. We got a declination from VFIS. We got a declination from Wright Risk Management. And the reasons for declination are not the overall account and the way it operates, it's just the premium. For them to quote it at a reasonable rate where they feel they need to quote it, it would be somewhere indicating maybe 115,000, somewhere indicating 120. Some just said, like Travelers said, we just, we can't compete this year. So,
good, Mary.
and the
I'm good.
premiums are definitely a direct factor to the loss history. And it's over a 5-year period and also a 10-year period.
If we can't show year after year a good loss ratio, we are always going to have higher premiums. For the most part,
For the most part, and over the last 4 years, when we go to market, it just, compared to other villages of your size, communities of your size, your pricing was below where the marketplace was. And it's been going up, gradually going up, but the losses have been, we're looking at over 100% loss ratios. For every dollar that's coming in, they're paying at least that amount out, at least over the last 5 years they have, on average.
That, you've explained it all. I certainly understand it. We have to come to par with what we're getting.
Well, once the main, or the claim that we've been discussing, that has been growing, once that gets settled, it's a zoning type issue, and that will certainly help.
Sometime in the future, could you possibly run a closed claim list for me? Because these were,
I have one, which I can give you a copy of.
that would be wonderful. Thank you. I would be curious as to what was put to bed and how much was paid out.
Yeah, I have it, it actually goes back 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
And then the cyber, I know they're always separate coverages. Can you just give a quick synopsis of the coverages and the limits?
Yeah, so the cyber policy has, the carrier that we had you insured with, the cyber, has actually pulled out of the market. So we went to, and because cyber claims throughout the industry, throughout the world, have increased substantially throughout the last 5 years. And just in the municipality realm and schools, governmental entities, I personally have seen, $250,000, $500,000 claims, and just in our book of business this year in Northeast Ohio, in cyber type claims. So it's rising, and carriers that are doing cyber are now requiring more policies and procedure, more structure and how you're operating here. And one of the main things is MFA, multi-factor authentication with your system. And in fact, there are very few, there's only a couple carriers out there that will do cyber starting this year, and they started to look at it last year. They won't even offer cyber unless you do MFA, which is similar like when you log into your bank account and you get a text and then you have to type in that type of thing. That's MFA. So the carrier that we had you with has stopped offering coverage. We did get a quote from as Cowbell is the carrier, but the cost, the total cost with this carrier is $14,076. Last year, it was $5,260. We have other quotes that are lower.
I
We have
do have
quotes
the
that-
questionnaire filled out.
Yeah,
I'll
so,
get that.
great. So we have other quotes that are lower. We have a quote that we have that's coming in at $7,950, and feel pretty confident we'll have other quotes that'll come in lower. Just that these carriers are now requiring a completed and signed app, their own app, in order to even quote when it's a municipality, which really gets in depth, and it's something that unless you have IT background, something that's really pretty difficult to fill out. I know Angela's working on getting it done.
Yeah, so
it hasn't finished.
TCC and then also Greg from TAC had portions to fill out, especially
That's our IT group.
regarding our MFA, yes. TAC is on the police side for their IT. And then also in talking with TCC to shore some things up on that application the other day, they're requiring a more robust antivirus system as well. So that's something that I authorized TCC to get me a quote for. It's going to probably be about $1,200 to $1,400 across the board for the organization, but they can do a push for that. And we would just tell Greg, hey, we're going to send it over to you, do a push on the police side as well. Because right now we use something called Avast, and it's not on that preferred list of antivirus software. So there is something else. I'll forget the name of it now, but we'll go ahead and upgrade our antivirus software as well.
So what, are you suggesting, John, that we go with, or we're still waiting? We're still waiting on that?
Well, if you have the questionnaire tonight or tomorrow morning,
Yeah, I'll go to you.
then we can have it settled tomorrow morning. The carriers have reviewed it, but they won't release a quote. We've talked to them about it, but they will not release it until they get the completed, very detailed application.
And whatever boxes we check on there, they will most likely come back and check up on. So we can't just say, okay, yeah, we have multi-factor authentication. Like, they may do a system check and make sure that we have these things in place.
And it may seem like a hassle going through it, but it's very necessary. It's the claims and this is where we're seeing the most amount of claims, and they are not small claims, and they're very disruptive. Even if it's not a monetary thing, they're very disruptive and costly.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, you've answered all my questions. I don't know if anyone else has any questions, or any people here, any of the residents.
Ms. Council, go ahead,
Mr.
Jennifer.
Mayor, John, could you just explain what some of these optional items are and what those would entail? Just out of my own curiosity, the crime and the E EPLI,
Sure.
Oh,
I wish I brought my glasses, but the crime, I believe, is the employee dishonesty, that's what that coverage is for theft by employees,
okay,
volunteers of the village's property. The EPLI is employment practices liability. Fire somebody, and they
Okay.
sue you for age discrimination, wrongful determination. That's what the EPLI is for.
okay,
Just a few examples. We have the employee benefits liability, which is $1 million limit. That's, so those terms is, you hire somebody and forget to put them on the health insurance plan. They find out they have cancer, so something like that, where it's a pre-existing condition and they exclude coverage. That would be an example of employment benefits liability. We have public officials liability, $1 million limit. That's covering everybody here. Or if you get sued in your capacity as a public official, in addition, there's a $10 million umbrella policy. Go above that. We have $1 million limit on the police department. And I'm just kind of glossing over this. You want me to get in detail, I certainly will, but.
No, I think that's
Just
pretty
like
good.
look
Yeah.
at
Do you have
general,
any other
no,
questions
yeah,
on
just
the
in general.
liability million?
just, yeah.
No, just what you're doing, John, I think it's good.
Yeah, an understanding of exactly what each of them
So the
entail.
the automobile coverage, that's the liability for the village's vehicles, also comp and collision vehicles stolen or it's damaged in some way, that's the comp and collision, that would cover that. The inland marine coverage, that is their property, the village's property that are not, permanently attached or in one location. That's, the ground crew equipment or things that are moving around that don't stay in one location. That's in the marine coverage. We have $900,750 for that, and there's a schedule in the back that lists all the equipment, everything that we're insuring.
Okay. That one I was most especially curious about, because I'm thinking like marina, why is that?
Yeah, that's where it came
General
from.
terms.
Marine coverage hundreds of years ago.
Okay,
But it's, it's for what's on land, inland.
okay,
EDP is the computer coverage. We have 110,000 for the village's computer system, computers. Along with other coverages, part of that extra expense, media coverage. If there's a fire and you have to recreate your special programs, that would be media coverage. Extra expense would help pay the extra expense to do that. And then we have the crime coverage, which is employee dishonesty coverage.
thank you.
Anyone else?
Are there any other questions?
Just, not belabor, but John, anything that we should have that we don't, I know it was very important we got cyber security insurance, because that is something municipalities are being targeted. Anything else out there that we don't have, that or something that other municipalities are looking at, or we should be aware of, or just out there in your industry?
Well, your current policy is pretty robust. It has a lot of additional coverages in addition to the main areas that I just touched on. There's other coverages that are kind of specific to municipalities where we have coverage. Like, for instance, cemetery headstones, things like that. So there are a lot of special coverages because it's specifically for a municipality, the village or city. Your policy here is you have a 10 million umbrella that I think is very good. I can't think of any specific coverage that you checked all the boxes when it comes to your exposure, and in addition to that umbrella, a lot of communities don't carry an umbrella that size. But I certainly think it's prudent.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Jennifer.
John, if you would be able to get us, and maybe this is actually for Mr. Montello, if they got us that cyber quote, do we need to just pass that all together then at the next council
It can
meeting?
be separate. We didn't pass a separate cyber in the past for it, but because we're still going to market for it based on our questionnaire to see if we can get a rate reduction with another carrier, that's why we're not really putting it out there tonight. But I did look when I drafted legislation, and we did not pass anything separate for cyber when we first instituted it in 2020 or last year.
So what we have on the agenda would just be the casualty
Property and casualty.
insurance renewal, okay.
If you want something drafted separate for cyber, we can do that and pass it at a separate time, but doing this really kind of like, we're agreeing we're getting cyber again, and we
Okay.
know what it comes in as.
So the question is, it's in there?
I don't have it in the legislation, but it wasn't in the past. You're saying we decided to add it on, we never did separate legislation for it.
We don't have the final number, so I don't know how, let me just read it real quick.
We can draft something else
Or
later.
just say maybe a not to exceed amount, that's,
You mean put it as an amendment tonight?
not to exceed 15 grand, I think it's gonna come under 15.
Well, we already have a
We have
proposal
quotes for it.
at $14.76.
Mr.
And
Mon,
the other indications that we have are coming in, I have one that's, I think, 7,500 approximately, and then other indications, communication, but no firm quote until they receive the completed that.
and
So
everyone,
I'm confident it will be below, or worst case scenario, the 14,000,
Jim, hold on.
but I'm confident it will be below that once we submit that.
So, right, so the question before all of you is if it's below a certain threshold, do you want separate legislation for it? I think because we were under 5,000 last time, that's the reason we did not, when we initiated in 2020, we were just under 5,000. So we didn't do any separate piece. I wouldn't cram it in here because it's not Tokyo Marine handling it. So,
All right, I think, is there any deadline, when's the deadline?
so we can wait and
Renewal.
see what we come out.
When is the renewal though, do we know?
Mr. Love, when is the deadline that we need to pass
For
this
the cyber.
legislation for
Well,
you?
I need to have it, we need to have it bound by tomorrow.
Right.
We
so
do,
can-
and I have quotes, I'll have everything by
and you
tomorrow
can
morning. In
bind
fact,
it
I talked
after
to everybody.
legislation.
They
Yeah.
just need the application, and they'll
Right.
release it. And I already have a quote of 7,950, but they haven't sent it to me.
For
Sure.
sure.
Verbally, they gave it to me, but
Nothing's bound.
they want the
Yeah.
application. And then the other carriers, same thing, but I could have it tomorrow morning.
But that is a different carrier then too, correct?
It
It's
is
not
always a
Tokyo
different
Marine.
carrier.
That's
No.
correct. It's a
So it
different
would have
carrier.
to be, if it was legislation, it would have to be a separate legislation case.
It would. So in the past, we've always renewed November 1st. We found the coverage and you guys have voted sometimes after the fact, if you get what I'm saying. So you passed the legislation to do our renewal on the package, on the big policy, the capital policy, after. So we can always do the application tomorrow, bind the coverage if we get that lower rate, and we can draft, since it's over 5,000 at the low end, we can draft legislation for that carrier to bring forth for the next COW and to pass at your council meeting.
Will that,
will that fly,
We're-
Mr.
we're
Monticello?
Confirming that, I could word it in a way where we ratified the purchase of the cyber, just a
Right,
around the
but
whereas,
different
a little
carrier.
bit,
But it's
Right.
a separate carrier altogether.
Right, I hear you, but I mean, we'll do a separate piece, not,
Sure.
even
Yeah.
if we bind it, we'll just ratify the fact that we did that.
Right, that we
Slow.
bounded ahead.
Yeah.
Sure, that was bound on November 1st.
so what will we have to do tonight?
Nothing, just pass this piece, I guess, and the other one will wait till the 18th, I suppose.
Or 15, yeah, whatever.
Or-
15th.
Yes.
Is everybody comfortable with that then?
Yeah.
Have it- We'll go to
We
the
just have to
special
get the
council meeting,
coverage bound.
just ask for suspension and just pass the casualty and insurance renewal?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for John? Mr. Love? No, Pat?
Not today, no. He's kind of wasn't available. He's kind of stepping back a little bit.
Getting
and-
close to retirement.
Getting close to retirement, that's correct.
I know he's kind of been a fixture here, and he's always done a good job presenting too. just like
Certainly,
you
he's
have,
been a
so.
fixture throughout this whole state, if not the country.
I know.
And, you know, his expertise, you know, with our municipal department and school department.
Yeah, no doubt. When I talk to other mayors, who handles your stuff, Pat? Yeah, for a lot of that.
Yeah, so
So
he's still there working. It's just, you know, he's trying to step back a little bit.
I get it.
Well,
Any
thank you.
other questions for John Love?
No?
Anything from any residents that are watching a live stream or that are here? Okay, Mary,
Thank
you
you.
good?
Thank you for your time. Thank you
Jennifer?
for coming out and staying on top of everything. And if you get a chance, send me a copy or
Oh.
send it
I will.
Do you want me to-
of the
I can
close. Oh,
make it.
okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Of the closed plans.
Yeah, I was interested in
Thank
that
you for your
also.
time
Thank you.
and your
John.
visit. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And the application, Angela,
Yeah.
will you send it
Yeah.
tomorrow or?
Yeah, tomorrow morning I'm in the office here, so I'll send it right over.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you.
Okay,
And I'll
thank
hand
you
it to
again.
Thank you.
You can call me if you have any questions.
Okay,
Need more detail.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
Take care, right?
Okay, item 4 is any comments related to the agenda items. Of course, we can comment as we go through them too. Okay, you want me, everybody ready for me to start? We'll start going through them. Item 5 is the legislation ordinance 2022-9, the Smith and Obie memo of mutual of understanding. As you know, we've talked about this quite a bit. We went into an agreement with Smith and Obie on the sale of the land, that they want to expand their offices there. Then there was a change, the agreement, and they were going on with it. Then there was a change with ownership there. And with that change, they asked if they're still moving forward. Actually, we got some drawings the other day that they're looking to get on the planning commission. We do know they've been doing quite a bit of stuff up there. They did stake for the building, so they just asked, because of new ownership, to take that agreement, put the new names on there, and they asked for an extension on the completion of the building. Which I know council, we talked about it, we felt that was very reasonable from council's side, the administration side, the legal side, Mr. Jordan, our building department, that it's a good request. And so here we have this ordinance in front of us now with those changes. I'd like to ask for suspension on that. I know they're looking forward to moving forward with that. And we're excited about it too, because looks like they're gonna break ground for that building this year too. Not this year, maybe this year, but definitely next year, that building will be going up too. So, and we've seen some conceptual drawings, still has to come to planning. But we're excited about that. Any questions on that? And John, did you want to add anything with that? I know you work with,
So we notified the, Mayor, we notified the schools, and gave them their notice to see if they had any comment. Not that they could have really done anything, but we, that's under the law, we did have to tell them. I have heard nothing back from them.
yep, the office here hasn't heard anything back.
And it's really, it was originally supposed to be done 2 years from the date of recording the deed, which would have been September of 2023. So they're asking for an extension to April 30th, 2024. So it's only like a 6-month extension, really, on the construction. And then I think we should pass it before we do any planning comments. They did submit a package already. And maybe I don't know about this next meeting, but in the near future, they may be on a planning meeting. So we should pass it so we can start that process moving along. If you wouldn't mind.
Okay, anybody have any questions about ordinance 2022-9? Okay, anything from the residents that are here or anybody that's watching the live stream? Okay. We'll move on to item B, which is Resolution 2022-27, casualty insurance renewal. Of course, we all heard right now from Mr. John Love, our insurance carrier. Any questions related to that? If we can have that for suspension too. In fact, I can ask, when we get into this, before this, would anybody like to introduce ordinance A?
I,
20, ordinance 2022-9, Smith and Obie? Not now, but when we get into the special
I
counsel.
can do that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Jennifer Allen, just save some. Item B, would anybody like to introduce that for
I
suspension?
would like to do that, Mr. Mayor.
Mary Brenner. Okay, then item C, resolution 2022-28, that's the community development block and supplemental grant. We did have the hearing before our meeting. We had no public comments at that time. We did read everything in order. And Mr. Whedon, you'd like to introduce that for suspension?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and everybody, just to get back to what that's for, that is for the grants to use for concrete repairs in the designated area, which is our industrial area. Okay. Anybody have any other business?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to read something I received from Chief Jaworski, actually in October, and I just kept forgetting to bring it to the meeting. It's just very brief. At September 2022, Detective Coat and Chief Jaworski attended the Northeast Ohio Fusion Center meeting. The meeting featured two senior analysts from the National Counterterrorism Center from Washington, D.C., and that was the report from the chief.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for our other business? The only thing, I know we talked about, we got that worked out for the meetings, for our up and coming meeting. Everybody good with that? We'll let Mr. Spitznagel know too.
November 15th, we will start at 5:30 with economic development. And then approximately 6:15, 6:30, we will finish finances, which will include September and October.
Okay.
And then a COW meeting followed by special council meeting.
Regular.
Regular council meeting, regular, today's special.
Just to kind of give you a little update under other business, because this might be on there too. Matt Slawinski's been working on the non-school TIFs. We did receive legislation, correct me, Jonathan, from Brickler and Eckler today for NPK, Smith and Obie, and the DROP program or Ford Innovation Center. So we're getting that stuff ready to pass before the end of the year, which is a very, very positive thing for the village. With that,
Mayor, if I may?
yes,
We'll probably have to put that on first reading and then notify the schools like we did with this agreement and probably pass it at the December meeting for a special meeting. in
Right.
December. Sorry, I should speak in here, I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
Special meeting in December probably, or the regular December meeting.
I know we talked about it in previous COW meetings, had Matt Stu there, we shortened his name a little bit, and I know
You just can't see his last.
that, I do have a problem, there you go.
Ed
Um,
Canning.
That this, council and the administration is agreement that we'd like to do that this year on those problems, so we're getting that ready. It is very complex legislation from what we understand. There's only a few law firms that actually do that work.
And the Mayor, for me, it just, and the air start, they're coming before planning on the 17th, I believe, or
Yes,
so they want to get.
Ford
moving.
Innovation's coming before.
Yes, yes. so that we want to pass it before they start improving the value, the land, until the value starts increasing. So we do need to get it done this year.
Okay. That's all I have right now. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment of the COW meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment of the COW meeting for November 1st, 2022.
Second.
Second, vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
As soon as somebody's missing, I'm all tripped up. Doesn't matter where they're sitting either.
You should have said yes.
Meeting adjourned at 8:01 PM. Okay, does anybody need to take a break, or you ready to go right into the special council meeting?
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. We've been here since 5, longer than that, but we started our first meeting at 5:30.
We do have a comment on here. I'll backtrack real quick. Sorry, I'm just seeing it from Lee Nielsen. We are almost a year into Event Center Try It and See program. Is there any info as to the progress in terms of financial progress, lack of, or number of events, paid or unpaid? Thank you. If I may, Mayor, I do need to just pull out expenses separate. It's easier for me to pull revenue for everyone. So that is something I will work on this week, and we can, you're welcome to always put in a public records request for it. It's just that it takes a little bit of time because we do lump expenses in with all of our regular expenses. But I could always post something on the website if that's something people think they want to see.
Or we can share it at the next COW meeting,
Or share at the next COW on the 15th, sure, absolutely.
because we'll be talking finances
Just
at
a little
that time too.
synopsis while we're doing that meeting.
Yeah, Angela, if you could do that on the 15th, that would be great.
I would agree with
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I
what you
need to read.
To read.
And with that said, I'm glad before we start to, we're kind of in between. So I guess but we can talk a little bit in between. We had a great event up there, our Halloween party, which I think was, like all our Halloween parties, a great success. And I don't think certainly couldn't have had that party anywhere else but up there. We probably had close to over 200 people total in that, and people still like to spread out and be comfortable, and it was really, really a good success. So just to say that, I was glad we had that event center, able to use that event center. It was really a nice event. Okay, so we already adjourned. Let's get right into the special council meeting. I'd like to call to order the special council meeting of Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 at 7 PM.
8:03.
Oh, I'm following this agenda. I'm sorry, at 8:03 PM. Roll call?
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Here. All council present, along with our fiscal officer, Angela Rebe, and our law director, John Montello.
Not all of council present. Do we need-
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We have one council member not here. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilman Brian Spitznagel from tonight's special council meeting.
Second.
Second by Fred Nielsen. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Mr. Spitznagel would be here if he could. I can tell you this, he doesn't miss many meetings like all of us here. We have a great group. Okay. All right, ready for item 3, which is the legislation.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Jennifer Allen.
I'd like to introduce for suspension ordinance number 2022-9, ordinance authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with respect to property located at 7676 Northfield Road in the Village of Walton Hills, authorizing an affidavit of facts related to title for such property, authorizing an amendment to the Community Reinvestment Area Agreement for such property, and consenting to an assignment of the Community Reinvestment Area Agreement as amended for such property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Fred Nielsen. Vote on the ordinance.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller? Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Nielsen?
That was for voting for suspension on the
Councilman
ordinance.
Whedon.
We did, sorry, Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Mr.
We're
Mayor,
gonna, we're gonna have
I
to
know
do
you did
something.
it, Councilman Whedon.
I heard that.
I did it too.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance number 2022-9.
Second.
Second by Fred Nielsen.
I'm gonna go in reverse order. Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed and adoption passed.
Okay, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'd
Mary
like-
Brenner Miller.
I'd like to introduce Resolution 2022-27 for suspension. But before I do, I want to verify, we are going to adopt the cyber in a second, okay,
Subsequent
just, all right, so I will continue. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor and the clerk of the Village of Walton Hills to enter into an agreement with the HCC, Public Risk Ohio, DBA Tokyo Marine, through the Love Insurance Agency for a municipal package insurance program effective November 1st, 2022 through October 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2022-27.
Second.
The insurance renewal.
Second by Mr. Whedon. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, resolution suspension and adoption passed. Resolution 2022-27. Item C,
Mayor-
resolution 2022-28.
Mayor Colgraf,
Mr. Whedon.
members of council, I'm introducing for suspension, resolution number 2022-28, a resolution authorizing the mayor and village engineer to make application for a community development block grant in the amount of $150,000, as well as to make application for a 2023 community development supplemental grant in the amount of $50,000 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Stereo.
Okay, Jennifer Allen, second. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed.
Mayor Colgraf, members of council, I'd like to ask for adoption of resolution number 2022-28.
Second.
Second by Jennifer Allen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment of the special council meeting of November 1st, 2022.
Second.
Second by Mary Brenner Miller. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 8:09 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Seems like these meetings go quicker when Brian's not here.
There you go. What'd you think of the Halloween? Thank you, ladies, for helping, too. I should have mentioned that.